Before I get into this video, I am co-hosting a podcast with the guy that I've promoted multiple times, Bulls Scripted. Now came across a problem where we had a name that was Tank With Us for the podcast, but we really can't use that long term because, well, at least hopefully next season we will not be tanking. So please give us whatever creative Bulls name for a podcast. Anything that you can think of, and leave it down in the comments below. I really appreciate it. Now on to the video. Kevin Durant made a fairly shitty move this offseason, signing with the Warriors. Well, it was at least a shitty move for the NBA, not really his career. I didn't like the move, and unless you're a Warriors fan, you probably didn't like the move either. But after Durant scored his 20,000th point against the Clippers on Wednesday, I decided I wanted to talk about the legacy that Durant will leave behind when his career is all said and done, what his numbers will be like, how many championships he will win, and overall the impact, both positive and negative, that he will have on the league. Well, first of all, considering where Durant is now, he's on what is quite possibly the greatest team of all time. And he's the best player on possibly the greatest team of all time. Now, say what you want about Durant, he's a snake, cupcake, etc., but you can't deny the fact that he's an amazing player on an amazing team that will win a few more championships. Let's first look at what his numbers will look like when he's retired. Durant is 29 years old. Let's assume that he plays at this level until the age of 33 for the rest of this season and for the next 3. 24 points per game, playing 70 games a season, that's 5,904 points. And let's say he plays till 37, averaging 18 points a game from 33 to 37, playing 60 games a season, that's 4,320 more points. That's a total of 10,224 points that Durant will score for the rest of his career, which combined with his 20,015 points puts Durant in the 30,000 point club at 30,239 career points, which would rank Durant 8th all-time on the scoring list because LeBron is already near 30,000, so he will be ranked higher than Durant. Now let's use that as the first part of Durant's resume. 30,000 career points, that's a hell of an accomplishment. One that only 6 players have achieved so far. Now let's look at what will always be the top of a player's resume, championships. As of now, the Warriors have a stranglehold on the league. Despite the rise of the Houston Rockets with Harden and Chris Paul, the surprising play of the Celtics with Kyrie Irving, the Spurs killing it even though Kawhi isn't playing, the Thunder getting it together, the Raptors becoming a much better offensive team, the Bucks with Giannis averaging 30 points a game, the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James. Despite all that, ask anyone who they think will win the championship this year, and they will say the Warriors without any hesitation. This team is that good. As a matter of fact, the Warriors actually kind of hurt Durant's all-time scoring ranking because a lot of Warriors games are over by halftime, so he only plays like 33 minutes a game now when he used to play 39. Not that I think that he is complaining. So the Warriors are winning the 2018 championship, and unless LeBron goes to the Spurs or the Rockets or forms a championship team somewhere else, there is no reason to believe that the Warriors won't win the next 2 or 3 championships. 4 seasons from now, Durant will be 33. Curry will also be 33, and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson will both be 31. If you think that that's too old to win a championship, in 1996, Michael Jordan was 33, Scottie Pippen was 30, and Dennis Rodman was 34. That was in the 96 season when the Bulls had the greatest record ever before the Golden State Warriors beat that. And the Bulls went on to win 2 more championships after that, with Jordan being 35, Pippen being 32, and Rodman being 36. 33 is around the age when players start to have a slight decline, but I think that players like Durant, Curry, Draymond, and Klay are all the type of players who will define gracefully. They won't fall off a cliff. Players like Vince Carter or Kevin Garnett, who relied on athleticism heavily, had really bad drop-offs. Still able to be good role players, but the last few years of their careers, they were not able to be the star players that they were throughout their entire careers previous. Players like MJ and Kobe, who initially really relied on athleticism, learned to adapt by adding a mid-range game to their arsenal, which allowed them to remain elite scorers. And I think Durant is already there. He never really has been a player who relies on athleticism. His jump shot has been knocked down for a very long time. He has a polished post game. He's so lengthy that he can finish without even jumping that high, and his ball handling ability isn't related to athleticism. KD's speed and jumping ability is just a plus to his already stacked offensive package. So I think that Durant's decline will be a gradual one. For Curry, he's never been a player that you would describe as an athletic player. He's fairly fast, but that's about it. He's 6'3", and he can barely dunk the ball, while Westbrook's only like an inch taller, and he gets his head over the rim. Not that I'm one to judge because I'm also 6'3", but I can barely dunk on an 8-foot rim. Curry's game relies on his shooting ability and ball handling ability. You can lose athleticism, but you really don't lose a jump shot. So it's realistic to assume that Curry will be playing at the level that he is now until his mid-30s. Klay Thompson, same thing. You don't lose a jump shot. Draymond is the only one that I could see having a decline because intangibles really are not something that you can measure statistically, but he could also be just fine because again, it's hard to... Draymond Green is a intangible player and it's hard to quite capture what he does on the court and how it will decline. So the Warriors are set to be dominant for a few more seasons. Durant has one championship now, and I think the Warriors can win at least the next 3. So that would give Durant 4 or 5 championships on his resume. I also think that it's reasonable to believe that he will win every Finals MVP of those 4 or 5 championships. He also has one regular season MVP, and I wouldn't be that surprised if he won one more in his career. But as of what his resume could look like, 30,000 points, 13 All-Star appearances, 4 or 5 championships, 4 or 5 Finals MVPs, 1 or 2 MVPs, 4 scoring titles, and 8 NBA first team selections. His career resume is wildly impressive, and it actually reminds me of one player in particular, Kobe Bryant, 5 rings, an MVP. But Durant has more scoring titles and he will likely have more Finals MVPs. I wouldn't be too surprised if in a few years people call Durant a better player than Kobe. The one thing that will always be the great cause of this great career, that will also be the great cause of his criticism, is his free agency decision 2 summers ago. The ugly truth is, leaving the Thunder for the Warriors was the best decision that Durant could make for his career and the worst. Durant in Golden State will win way more championships, a ton of Finals MVPs, and he will be known as the best player on one of the greatest teams the NBA has ever seen. But also, back to the whole Kobe thing, even though Kobe did demand a trade, fair or not, he is perceived as a loyal player to the franchise, sticking with the team through thick and thin, even though he tried to jump ship during the thick. But if/when people debate Durant versus someone like Kobe, maybe it's Dirk or even freaking MJ, the debate will always open with his decision. This decision boosted Durant past the top 50 players or the top 30, but it will keep him outside of the top 8. Stats and championships are not the only thing that is valued when it comes to a player's legacy. Durant's impact on the league as a whole is also very important. LeBron has had a massive impact on the game. MJ did, Kobe did, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's rivalry did. To make it to the same ranks as those guys, Durant has to have the kind of positive impact in the league that those guys had. I wouldn't call leaving the Thunder to play for the team that you just blew a 3-1 lead to form the most stacked and overpowered team in NBA history, that much of a good thing. That being said, Durant is an amazing player who will have an amazing resume, and he will still be ranked with the greats. I could see Durant slipping his way into the top 10 of all time, and being considered one of the greatest offensive players of all time, as he is definitely the most versatile offensive player of all time. No other player in NBA history can you say was as good as he was at every facet of scoring in the game. Durant can shoot, He can drive, he can pull up, he can do post fades, he can do post hooks, he can dunk from the goddamn free throw line if he really wanted to. He has a very polished offensive game. He's pretty much elite at every aspect of it. You really can't say the same for other players such as MJ or Kobe. MJ did not have a three-point shot, and his dribbling was really just enough to find his spots on the court. He wasn't breaking ankles the way that Durant commonly does. Kobe, same thing. His three-point shot was average, and he used ball handling the same way MJ did. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.